Welcome to the Navigating Dental Insurance Podcast, where we don't take from insurance companies. Here are your hosts, Mr. Jordan Comstock and Mr. Ben Tuine.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Say No to PPOs podcast. I am your co-host, Jordan Comstock. We got Ben today back on the line. Ben, how you doing, man?
What's up, Jordan? I'm doing, I'm doing okay today. Today's an okay day. The sun is shining, and hopefully it'll get better. But today's good. Actually, having Debbie on is going to make it even better. So
yeah. So we got an awesome guest here today. Her name is Debbie Seidel-Bittke. Did I say it right, Debbie?
You said it right, Jordan. Yeah. Thank you.
I tried practicing before we recorded, but it looks like it worked. So Debbie is a dental consultant, coach, speaker, and author. She's also the CEO of Dental Hygiene Solutions, powered by Dental Practice Solutions. Debbie is a world-class leader in creating profitable hygiene departments. She is well known as a former clinical assistant professor at USC in Los Angeles.
Go Trojans.
And a former hygiene department program director. And Dentistry Today recognizes Debbie as a leader in dental consulting. That's pretty awesome. So we're excited to have you on the show, Debbie. I think we spoke a couple weeks ago, you and I, on the phone, and we had an awesome conversation, and I just had to have you on our show. So how are you doing today, Debbie?
I'm doing fabulous, and I'm over here in the Pacific Northwest, just west of you guys, and we are also having a sunny day.
That is surprising. So are you out of Oregon then?
I live in a suburb of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, cool.
And I just get kind of stressed out because I love the sun. And this time of year, it tends to be gloomy, gray, and rainy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for some reason, it's sunny, and it's going to be 75 degrees today in October.
Lucky.
I'm so happy.
Here in Utah, Ben, I'm sure you'll agree with me, it was summer, and then all of a sudden it's winter.
Yes, there was absolutely no transition.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, one week I'm wearing shorts and T-shirt, and like yesterday I wore a jacket and jeans, and I'm like, man, what the heck? What's with our weather here in Utah?
29 degrees in my front porch this morning. There was dew. Yeah, the driveway was icy. It was crazy.
So what's going on in the world here? Lots of exciting things are going on, huh?
Yeah.
The world's gonna burn soon. There's
that was actually supposed to be Saturday, Ben.
Oh, okay. So we we passed the test or something. Who knows?
Yeah,
we're still here.
Well, Debbie, it's great to have you. On our podcast, we depending on the guest, we like to call it like a virtual cup of coffee, virtual cup of whiskey. And then for us two Mormons, it's a virtual cup of glass of milk, really boring stuff. But we love the fact that you are a hygienist and a dental consultant and coach and speaker, which is the first. We've never had a hygienist on our program. So we're very honored to have you here. And previous podcasts, we talked about hygiene codes. One in particular is a code that everybody's talking about, referring to as the gingivitis code, if you will. But there are so many things Perio related that we want to talk about you, because our podcast is geared towards dental insurance, how we can help from by way of coding, by way of negotiating, participation, and all that fun stuff. But it seems like Perio is just one of those big areas that often tends to get missed in dental practices. I guess my first question for you is, as a coach, what are you seeing? What are some of the trends you're seeing in dental practices as it relates to Perio? Are we getting better, or are we getting worse at diagnosing the disease?
Well, when we review our offices at the very beginning, it's actually trended to get better. I mean, we used to see it was like 90% of their codes being billed were the Prophy code. Yeah. And I'm starting to see more like 20% of their adult population go through periotherapy. And so it's trending to be better. However, when you look at the U.S. statistics, which I have from 2012, times have changed since 2012, but that's the last statistics I have from the American Academy of Perio, they're saying that 64 million people in the U.S. had gum disease. And
Wow.
so if we've got 60, I mean, the population has grown since 2012,
Right.
and our baby boomers are up there in age, which we know they're risk factors for gum disease. We call it gum disease because our patients relate to that word better than perio.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, that baby boomer population has a higher risk factor for gum disease. And we have so many more baby boomers in the world now since 2012 when they had those stats. So when you look at what's going on, we see a predisposition for perio because there's so much gingivitis. And I believe we're coming out of the economic gloom. Patients are returning back to their dentist after trying to save their way to prosperity by not having a dental appointment in the economic gloom there a few years back. Now they're coming back, but they're coming back. They might not have radiographic bone loss, but what they do have is a lot of bleeding, a lot of inflammation. And in the past, hygienists, and still today, hygienists are perplexed. They're saying, well, what do I do? They're not in need of gum treatment, periodontal therapy, but they're more than a prophy. And so what we were doing before is prophy 1 and prophy 2. And we were kind of not treating the inflammatory response, which we know also our research says that systemic disease usually shows up in the mouth first. So how can we help our patients live a healthier, longer life? That's like my mission. Why I do what I do is to spread that word and to help hygienists to address this chronic situation with people having inflammation not only in their mouth but in their body. And in their body, that causes other diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, arteriosclerosis, strokes, heart attacks, blah, 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 on and on and on.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an article a couple years ago. I appreciate you mentioning that. So it sounds like we're getting better, right? As an industry with...
Yeah.
I think so.
There's an article a couple years ago, I think it was in Illinois, where a dentist was sued, or a dentist fails to tell a patient about worsening gum disease. And it was a lawsuit that basically stemmed from the fact that they were coding it as a prophy, as an 1110 for 20 years. Patient ended up losing a tooth, and the doctor at the time that extracted the tooth looked at the patient history, obtained everything from the previous office, and nothing was ever mentioned about perio of any type, nothing about bone loss, bleeding. It was noted as perio. From a coding perspective, why do you think that's an issue for many practices as to why they don't report it or mention it to the patient that it is gum disease? Instead, it seems like, and I don't want anybody to be offended about what I'm about to say next, it seems like many offices are taking the easy route and only reporting it as a prophy, which is the less expensive route too for the patient. What do you think causes that in many dental offices?
Well, I want to take you back to 1990. I moved from LA.
Jordan is like, he's like, was I born yet then? No, you were born then, Jordan.
19. I was.
Were you born,
Yeah.
Jordan?
I was born.
He was.
I'm not that young.
Well, let me take you back to 1990. So I moved from LA to Orange County, and I was working in a dental office there, and I was a new I graduated a few years prior to that from USC, but I was new to the office, and I just did what I knew to do. And we were very, very perio focused at USC, and so I had trained with people like Anna Pattison. They're writing the textbooks, and so I'm assessing the patient and talking to them about their gum disease, and these patients are calling back because they've been there for maybe 20 years now in that office, and I'm new. They're like, she's telling me I have this problem and I need to come back. And so the doctor came and talked to me. He's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So we looked together, and you could see these patients had inflammation in their mouth. Now, back in 1990, we didn't really hear about oral disease contributing to systemic disease. But my doctor looks at the perio chart, the radiographs, and he's like, oh gosh, So we meet with the other hygienists who we work together alongside each other. And they had been seeing her, and they go, hygienist number one, I'm number two hygienist. Hygienist number one, what's going on? I mean, why is Debbie telling the patients they need this therapy, but we see that it's been there and you never said anything? So here's your answer. She said, I feel really bad telling them that they have gum disease. And I know, she said, I know, she for some reason knew, that the insurance wasn't going to pay for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
And our doctor was relying on the other hygienist to do what he thought was best, what she knew was best. But that is why she wasn't. She goes, I know they need this, but I feel bad for them. And I want to take that thought, because maybe somebody's heard that, or they work in an office where that's happening, and let's flip that now, because there's so much research. How would you feel if your patient all of a sudden had a heart attack, a stroke, or my girlfriend met with me, she's not a dental professional, but she couldn't wait to tell me that she had high cholesterol, and her naturopath said, I want you to go see your hygienist, because once you have an appointment with your hygienist and you come back, we're going to recheck your cholesterol. It'll probably go down. Can you believe that's happening now in 2015?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was so excited to tell me that she went and saw her hygienist, and then actually her cholesterol went down. So what if we knew that we could help our patients live a longer, healthier life by telling them the truth and not being so concerned with if their insurance is going to pay for it? Because, if somebody has cancer, or let's say they do have a heart attack and they know their insurance isn't going to pay for a procedure, because now you can have these, you can have things done to the aortic valve in your heart, and they go up through the groin. They don't have to cut open your chest.
Right.
So what if you knew they didn't have to cut open your chest, but you had to pay a few $1,000s more to have them go up through the groin, which was not so invasive? Which one would you be willing to pay for? Would you say, oh, just open up my chest, crack it open, and I don't want to pay the money because my insurance doesn't pay for it, don't do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would you guys do?
Well, I have a smart comment.
Yeah, make the side comment.
No, it just it depends on what's down there in the groin. No, just kidding. But yeah.
I think they do go in there,
we just lost half the listeners, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, they're laughing. They're laughing.
No,
okay,
not because of you. No, not because of you. Because of me.
Nah, they're laughing.
Bad question. I should
No,
use a
no.
different analogy.
No. No, thank you for bringing it up. But I think that's so key that you mentioned it, that you brought up that specific analogy, because you're absolutely right. When insurance, I don't know if you know my story.
No.
Or my son's story.
Ben's got a great story. Yeah.
So,
or your son.
Yeah, my son delivered at 24 weeks gestation.
Oh,
one
gosh.
pound, 10 ounces. And many of those that are listening have experienced the same thing. But my son needed heart surgery the same day, like within hours of the delivery. Excuse me. And the hospital came in and they basically said, oh, we can't bring in the best. Well, they didn't say the best. We can't bring in the surgeons that normally do this because your health insurance is not part of the hospital, the specialist network, meaning the specialists are out of network. So therefore, the only option is the general surgeons. Survival rate difference.
Yikes.
I mean, you're looking at a 95% plus survival rate for the appropriate surgeons versus less than a 15% survival rate for the general surgeons. And hospitals are very, very creative in how they convince doctors to come in and perform these procedures. In fact, I had a general surgeon sitting in on one of my meetings out in Rancho in California. And he came up to me after and he says, yeah, I used to work for one of those hospitals that they just blew smoke up our rear ends and told us exactly, they fed us a good bills and convinced us to do surgeries that we knew were going to end up in failure. And all this time we're thinking, why aren't you guys getting in the cardiothoracic surgeons or the other surgeons who we know are in their on-call room taking a nap? You know, they're not busy. So, you know, the sad thing about this is that insurance is inserting itself as a decision maker on what type of quality people get, you know?
Yeah.
And those decisions trickle down to clinical teams, to business teams. And in my situation, we were forced fed the worst care possible because of an insurance plan.
All because of your insurance.
Wow.
And I said, this is complete BS. We're not going to do that.
Good.
The year before, the federal government passed the law, and this is so sad that we have to rely on these types of laws in order for us to get access to good care, is that it was a law. It's called the High-Tech Act of 2009, and that allows patients to choose what type of care they want and what type of care they choose to have submitted to insurance and what type of care they choose not to have submitted. Had we gone through insurance, we would have received the 15% batting average. But I decided to have them draft a consent form on a piece of paper that basically says, we're going to waive insurance. And I told them I don't want insurance to be an obstacle. Heck, you can have my kidney if you need it today, whatever, to leverage whatever financials you need. But my son deserves the best care. And I think every patient deserves the best care possible. And we have an obligation as business people and clinicians to not be fearful of what insurance covers and what they don't cover. Let the patient decide, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, I have to tell you guys something. I hope I don't make more listeners turn off.
They love you. They're mad at me. They love you. You're fine.
I'm sure you won't, Debbie.
Now they're listening to hear. They want to hear what I'm going to say. I have to tell you, you know, my first position as a hygienist in the professional world was in this, you know, it was so much fun because it was in Playa del Rey, California, and I lived in Redondo Beach, and it was a cool drive. I was so excited to be a hygienist because I started out, I don't know if you guys know, I started out as a teenager as a dental assistant, and then I went to school at night to get my prerequisites. Then I went to USC, and I still worked as a dental assistant on the weekends and during the breaks from college, and it was just a fun time. But now I'm excited to be a hygienist. So, of course, remember, you know, I'm gung-ho about the Perio. I'm going to treat that gum disease. So my first office, you know, all these patients are coming in, and I mean, it was I don't want to gross. I hope I'm not grossing people.
No, you're fine.
We're in dentistry.
Yeah, you're talking to dentists.
But it was profuse bleeding. I mean, the patients had never had any scaling. By the way, get this. I take over the position of this other hygienist. She's in her 60s. God bless her soul. I don't even know if she's still alive because that was, 1985. Now I'm talking.
Whoa.
And,
you okay, Jordan?
I'm doing all right.
Okay, guys, listen to this. This is what she did to help them with their gum disease. You're going to crack up. She had a plant outside the door. There was a door to the outside from this operatory. She would go out there, pick the aloe vera plant, and she would rub it on their gums.
Wow.
That's what she did to treat their gum disease. Now she left, and now they hire me. So I'm gung-ho. So I'm just doing the best I know how to do, and I'm like, oh, these people, they're going to need 6 appointments because they had so much heavy, tenacious calculus. And so the owner, he owns this guy. He was only there in this practice a few days a week, and he didn't even practice dentistry. He had all these associates and people working there. We were the worker bees, and he oversaw these dental offices, many of them, back in 1985, okay? So he comes and has a meeting with me, and he goes, you cannot tell these people that they have gum disease. You cannot bring them back. It's costing us too much money. And I'm like, so, I was young in my 20s, really naive, and I'm like, I can't tell them that they have gum disease, but I pull out this paper, and I'm like, this is called supervised neglect, and I'm showing it to him. And the doctor who owns these offices is laughing. Seriously, he goes, and look at this. Our little hygienist is telling us that we're doing something wrong.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
So guess what happened the next day when I came to work? What do you think happened next?
Did they fire you?
They fired me.
They fired you? No way.
I didn't want your readers or your listeners to think I was a bad hygienist. I mean, I'm like on this bandwagon from my early 20s to treat people to get their mouth healthy. And back in 85, I went back to my textbook. We had one chapter that possibly your oral health may contribute to your systemic health. True story.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I didn't know that the reason for getting the calculus, the tartar, the plaque removed was to help them live a healthier life at this point. You know, that came back that came in 2000. I started, promoting that message.
Yeah. Wow.
But
That's
it's
interesting.
I think it's a funny story now.
I'm just
I was fired for that.
I'm just glad I wasn't born in 1985. That seemed like a rough year.
Well, Debbie you sound young to be throwing out these dates.
You do. You do sound very young.
Your
Debbie.
intelligence is definitely up there, but you're physically you sound a lot younger. But I just can't believe you got fired. Well, it's a great story, but I wonder what happened to that practice.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
gosh, the guy, he sees me at the CDA in Anaheim. He's walking on the convention floor, and he pulled me aside and told me off.
No way.
If you could see me now, I'm always smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smile. So I was just like, oh, okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Yeah, well,
Little sass in this young lady at the time.
well, he should be thanking you because I guarantee he's either considered or may have or has hired a hygiene professional to help resolve the issue. And the reason why, because doctors are getting sued.
Could cause lots of issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe he's in jail now.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's surprising to me when I first started in dentistry over 10 years ago, Perio was one of those big things in the office. I mean, if you weren't mentioning Perio to the patient, we had a full-time, this was a DSO, so we had an attorney in the office, in the management team office, and he would go and speak to the hygienist about why they're not, if the percentages were below, and I can't remember exactly what the percentages were for the type of patients that we were seeing. That had if it was under a certain amount, the attorney would get suspicious, saying, "I wonder if they're giving away SRPs for free." And that's exactly what he discovered. He went and he had one of the dentists sit down and looked at a bunch of X-rays and chart notes, and they found that, wow, there's bone loss on this patient. There are pockets. There's a lot of bleeding. There's buildup. Everything and anything that would indicate anything from moderate to severe gum disease. And there are a few hygienists that were just a pattern of reporting it as a prophy, but performing 4 quads of scaling and root planing and not even making any mention about it in the chart notes. But from a liability perspective, you not disclosing that to the patient is huge liability. I mean, I personally know dental practices that have been sued because of supervised neglect, not disclosing the fact that a patient has a condition. But I just think that, to me, that's just a very simple liability issue. But it's much more complex than that, is it, Debbie? Like, a lot of practices are still hung up in that old mentality of not disclosing because whether it's not paid for by insurance or they're afraid that the patient is going to have to pay more. And to me, that's what I'm seeing is a lot of practices don't mention it, or hygienists don't mention it, or doctors don't mention it because they're afraid that the patients are going to push back.
Exactly. I mean, I've come across it so many times where they're like, I mean, when I first started my business consulting back in the early 2000s, I was working 3 days. And I went to a point where I was just temping. And a lot of doctors would say, do not tell the patient that they have gum disease. I know this patient has perio.
Wow.
Don't tell them because I know they're not going to do it.
Wow.
And I had a really hard, I actually stopped temping because I can't stand to do that. And by the way, I wanted to tell you the reason why that office back in 85 was saying that we can't afford to have you do the scaling and root planing is because they had to come back so many times, and it was a capitation practice.
Oh, I see.
And I remember I could almost, I don't know where I come up with this, but I almost think it was like maybe they got $50 a month for each patient that was assigned to this office.
So that was his reasoning. Interesting.
Yeah, and I didn't even know what capitation was. I mean, you don't learn about this in dental school.
No.
And if you don't mind, I want to tell you something that happened recently with a doctor. He wanted me to look at his practice. He might be hiring us. And he said I bought this capitation practice. And, of course, my red flags are going off. But, he was a super nice guy, and he was referred by another client. So I go and I actually met with him at his office. And he starts showing me that they do a lot of scaling or planing. And it's changed, and I haven't kept up with, we don't even hear that word capitation. We hear PPO and HMO.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he's actually, I told him the story. I don't know if he was too impressed with it, but I said, I'm really impressed. I mean, your perio percentage here, the percentage of adults going through periotherapy, it was a really good amount. However, they weren't coming back for routine maintenance. Now, that's a whole nother issue that we deal with. But anyways, I just wanted to mention that to you.
Ah, interesting.
No, I can talk to you all day about the capitation world. And they actually pay $4 or less per patient per month. You're lucky if you get $5.
Yeah, I was going to say.
At $18 per patient per month, you're at a fee-for-service model. At $25 or $30, you're at a surplus level. $50, gosh, you are making a killing as a practice.
You're going to rake me.
Yeah, and so
I don't know where I came up with that number.
No. I just wanted the listeners to be familiar, because some of the listeners are considering things similar to a capitation plan, and in my opinion, if it's at least $18 per month, you can do it, but you have to have high volume of assigned patients, at least 1,000 assigned to you. If you don't, then don't do it. It's not going to be worth it.
It's not worth it.
Oh, that's that's good. Not to interrupt you, but that was very important what you just said.
Yeah, it's key. I mean, if you have clients that are dealing with that, because it's a function of numbers, if you have
volume.
Just like Jordan's program, Jordan's in-house membership program, you deal with the same thing.
Volume.
When you have a higher volume of patients, you now have the benefit of how the insurance system works in terms of utilization and underutilization. And so, like, less than 50% of patients ever use their benefits each year. But even worse than that, only 6% would ever max out a $1,500 annual maximum. But going back to your scenario of this practice doing perio, with capitation plans, if you're billing correctly and you're coding correctly, depending on what the capitation fee is, in my mind, the more perio you're doing, the more profitable the practice would be under PPO plans. But under some HMO/capitation plans, not all of them, and that's the sad thing, is that when you don't have the volume, business owners will say, let's not diagnose perio. So that now you're running into issues of not doing, you're breaking the law, number one. And then, you're engaging in supervised neglect. You're not giving the patients the benefits they purchase. If you run into that, you shouldn't be participating with a plan like that. Drop it, because I can guarantee you at some point in your career, it is going to catch up with you. You're going to get caught. And then you're going to get sued big time by both the insurance carrier, the patient and the patient's attorney. But my advice, if you're in that situation, don't do those capitation plans.
Yeah.
Talk to Debbie too about So
capitation, we need to, if you're gonna do it, really analyze it. Make sure you've got the volume, and if it's like $5 a month per patient, kind of be cautious about it. Is that what we can learn there, Ben?
Yeah. I would say if it's less than $18 per patient per month. But at $18, if you have 1,000 patients, it's fee for service, meaning the procedures that you perform, the money that you get paid, because more than half of the patients won't show up anyway. So there's not that stress. There's not that concern of, let's not diagnose perio, let's not mention it because it's going to cost us money. Those are eliminated when it's at $18 and 1,000 patients minimum. But anything below that, you're running the risk of doing to the patient like this hospital did to me and my son and my wife, saying that, no, you can't have access to the highest quality care because your insurance plan doesn't cover our specialists. You know, that mentality needs to leave medicine. It needs to exit the industry because patients deserve better, you know, and we're better. We're better than that as you look at business professionals in medicine and dentistry. You'd think that they would have higher standards, and that's my whole part of advocacy is we should be holding higher business standards in the dental world, and we can afford to do that when we make good decisions. But anyway, off my rant box there.
Well, you know, the thing is, we were talking about we came to this with the topic of gingivitis, and I mean, the thing with capitation in the HMOs, in any of those state plans, I mean, we have a doctor with 3 different state plans, and it's very important for the patients to we have to first understand the patient's value, but also try to flip their negative value. Like, one of our clients has some of these HMOs, and the lady was like, just yank them. And how do you talk to somebody? I mean, they let her go without scheduling because she said yank them.
Wow.
And they didn't want to bother her. But we actually talked about it and created a plan so that we can understand what's behind yanking them. What does that really mean? Like, what is she really saying here when she says yank them? And it was really, when we got down to it, it was all about her money. And that's why she has the state plan, and that's, you know, they gave me other patients as well with the HMO and the state plans. And it's when we can talk to them and flip their objection into a positive and how it benefits them. But we understand their value, what's important to them. Now we can create a change, and they will find the money, because I said to them, okay, she wants them yanked because she doesn't want to spend the money, but what kind of phone does she have? Well, she has a new $800 iPhone, and does she have a sleeve of tattoos? Yes. Okay, so she found that she could put value on that.
Yeah.
But how can we help her understand it's more than just your teeth? It's living a healthier life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And most of the time when patients want, you know, get rid of their teeth, they have actually more problems than if they use dentures, you know, because their teeth move, or their gums and their bone move so much. It's so crazy. When I managed the lab, we had worked with a few patients through some of our doctors that they had the dentures. Oh, and it's a mess. Dentures are a mess, and for some reason people think those are the better solution if they're having, you know, problems with their teeth. But no, it's kind of annoying. So anyways, Debbie, could you talk more about the gingivitis code and tell us why it's important in dentistry?
The reason why it's so valuable to us now is because it gives us an opportunity to not clean teeth, but we get to have that discussion. We get to take some time that creates value around inflammation and how we want to reduce inflammation, get rid of the inflammation in their mouth, which helps them to not, in the end, get other systemic diseases associated with inflammation that originally started in their mouth. Even like I was telling you the example of my colleague or my girlfriend who had high cholesterol, and now she's so much healthier. And high cholesterol leads to these other inflammatory systemic diseases such as heart attack, arteriosclerosis, blah, blah, blah. And so it's giving us that opportunity to not feel like we have to get their teeth cleaned today. But what's happening, and the good news is that I know for a fact, and I see this happening because we usually are, typical clients, we're in their office for a couple days. So it all depends. We customize everything, but let's just say, for the example, quarterly we'll be in an office, and we're teaching them how to use these different codes associated with these different services that we're providing our patients, and one of them is the gingivitis code. So we teach them how to assess for it, and then how to talk to the patient about the inflammatory process, and when they're going to return, which is not in 6 months. When you have gingivitis, you return. It could be in 2 weeks, but definitely in 6 weeks, because we want to make sure that our patients have a healthy state, and it's called an end point balance scientifically in dental textbooks. We want to know what is the end point balance, and that's when we determine that they can go to 6 months, or maybe they need to be at 4 months, But when we have a patient in our chair with gingivitis, we don't know how they're going to respond to that, so we need to get them back sooner. So we're going to discuss with our patient what's going on, and we're going to look with them. We're actually going to show them what we see going on. So they're going to have about 30% of the mouth or more with inflammation, and that includes bleeding points. They could have some 5-millimeter pocket depths, which also relates to infection and active disease. But if we don't see radiographic bone loss, there's a great possibility that reducing inflammation is going to reduce the 5-millimeter pocket down to a normal, within normal limits status. So we want to have some scaling, some irrigation done. Then they'll return to no more than 6 weeks later. And now if they still have a lot of bleeding points, a lot of inflammation, there's probably something else going on systemically, number one, because most healthy patients are going to respond well if they brush their teeth at least once a day. In 2 weeks or 6 weeks, they're going to look healthier. But there are going to be some patients who might not respond well. They are going to be tobacco users, or patients who might have diabetes or rheumatoid arthritis, other systemic conditions, which could, by the way, be undiagnosed at this point. When they come back in 6 months, that's a discussion that we need to have with that patient. If we see inflammation exists and they swear to you and you know for sure they're using that power toothbrush twice a day and they're flossing, that should be resolved, and now we can talk about them coming back in 4 weeks, or 4 months, or 6 months. But it gives us that opportunity to address other health concerns if that inflammation in the mouth doesn't resolve within 2 to 6 weeks. And it also, I want you to know that when you take the pictures, when you have your full mouth comprehensive Perio documentation, which includes 6-point probings, mucogingival involvement, recession, furcations, mobility, etc. When you've documented that and you can send that to show the insurance company, hey, we did our due diligence. We made this assessment. We did an examination. Now the insurance company, what we're seeing when I'm in the office, I'm there day one and we're educating and training on this. And the next day I come to the office, I hear the insurance has already paid, because the person at the front office, they clicked the button to send that off electronically to the insurance company with all that documentation, with the pictures that were taken of the inflammation, the bleeding points, blah, blah, blah. And the next day, they got paid.
That is awesome.
Oh, nice.
I was going to ask about that, because there are many offices, some that I know that do better than others, that experience exactly what you explain. When you submit the right documentation, it gets paid. And then some offices, it's just not getting paid. It's getting downgraded to an 1110. Couple questions. Where should doctors price out that code? So it's D4346. For those of you that may want to re-listen to it, it's defined as most people call it the gingivitis code, but it's called the Skellingen presence of generalized, moderate, or severe gingival inflammation, full mouth after oral evaluation. So what fee should they, or how should they compare this to how they assess a fee for this procedure compared to like a prophy, perio maintenance, or debridement, for instance?
So that's a really good question. And what I say is, where's your prophy fee and where's your perio maintenance fee? So let's just arbitrarily give prophy is 100, perio maintenance is 200. In this situation, I would put the fee at 150. And by the way, I want to just fully disclose that I'm not in a position to tell you what to make your fees. I'm just telling you what is the standard in our industry, and what I see across the board is it's somewhere in between there. So I gave you an arbitrary example, and I don't want to have any legal problems.
No, you're good.
I
agree. Like for instance, like D4341 versus 4342. Most people say that 4342 should be 75% of 4341, the scaling root planing codes, and I guess that's what the industry is looking for. Is they're looking for a standard, because my thought is exactly. I've actually been telling doctors, you know what? I think that if it comes back as a pro fee, try to see if they can remap it, reimbursed at the Perio maintenance level, since Perio maintenance is also a covered benefit under the patient's plan, and that way you get paid higher than what the pro fee pays, because you're doing a lot more work. But I actually like your recommendation. It's not a pro fee, and it's not necessarily in the SRP category, and it's just right in between Perio maintenance and pro fee, so the fee should be right in the middle. So I like that. I like that analogy. Or at least that explanation. Good. So thank you. We're still looking.
I also wanted to say one additional comment too. When you gave the description, it's really important that the patient does not have radiographic bone loss. I don't know if you said that piece.
I did not, but thank you for the clarification. I mean, if anybody wants the ADA's PDF version of the description, I mean, I really like it because it tells you exactly how to diagnose it. As well as what's involved in the procedure, how it relates to 1110, 4910, and the other Perio codes, 4341, 4342, 4355, which is debridement. So if any of you are interested in that, just check out the show notes for our email address, and we would be happy. Or Debbie, you reach out to her. Would you be willing to even...
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. And just email us at admin@dentalpracticesolutions.com. And what happened is the ADA wrote a huge document on this. So it says, what kind of exam can you charge with this code, blah, every little detail is documented, and I'm happy to send that to them.
Awesome. That is excellent. Awesome.
So, Ben, I just wanted to clarify something you said. Now, say you were talking about the pro fee. If they bill for the gingivitis and it gets knocked down to the pro fee, I was a little confused, and I don't know if somebody listening, maybe they're driving in their car listening, and they might have caught some of it, but not the full thing.
Sure.
What were you talking about, the Perio maintenance fee? Were you suggesting they bill the Perio maintenance fee instead?
Thank you. Yes. See, we're not doing such a good job. Like you're playing the role of a host and saying, "Can you clarify that?" Which we should be doing that. But shame on us. No,
I'm detail oriented.
Yeah, no.
It's great.
In thinking about what I said, absolutely, I need to clarify that. So thanks, Debbie, for bringing that up. So no, never bill. If it is in this category of a gingivitis code, and read the definition so that you're familiar with it, bill it as is. Bill it exactly to what you see or what you perform on the patient. Never bill a code that doesn't represent what you've done. Like, for instance, some offices know that the insurance company is going to downgrade a posterior composite to an amalgam, and so therefore they bill the amalgam. That is a no-no. Always bill exactly what you've performed on the patient. Now, if the insurance carrier, let's say you bill this code is 4346. You bill it and it gets downgraded, or in the insurance world, they're going to remap it. So
interesting.
We're familiar with the term downgrade, so they downgrade it. Essentially, a downgrade is the insurance carrier saying, well, we don't have a benefit available for 4346, but we do for 1110. So rather than leaving the patient with full financial responsibility, we're going to cover it as an 1110. So in my opinion, whenever I see downgrades like this for new codes, I go back to the insurance carrier and I let them know that, hey, look, this is actually more in the range of, in terms of reimbursement, more in the range of a Perio maintenance or a debridement. And so therefore, can we get it corrected? Because we did a lot more than a pro fee. Can we get it corrected at a reimbursement, at least at the Perio maintenance level? And I met with one of the hygiene study clubs here in northern Utah, and there's many of those hygienists have already implemented that. They say that insurance is correcting the EOBs to get it covered as 4910, the Perio maintenance code, and not 1110. But what you're going to see in the future is that a lot of insurance carriers are going to create a benefit assignment for this code. But what I fear is that they're gonna set the fee at the pro fee level, and this is where the industry, the dental industry, you have to define the UCR, the usual, customary, and reasonable. Don't give the insurance carriers control of that, of how to define UCR. So it's best to lean on the side of being a little bit high than being on making the error of being a little bit too low on how you set the fee. So whether you set it at the 4910 level or halfway between 4910 and 1110, I think that's appropriate. But do not ever price this fee out as an 1110 fee. It is not an 1110. It should be priced out much higher. Did I do a good job clarifying that, or do I need to?
You did a really good job. I just wanted to add something that's super valuable to us dental professionals in the future of getting this paid for. If you remember back, like maybe, 15, 20 years ago now, it's gone by fast, but we came up with this fluoride varnish code. I can't remember when that was, but at first insurance wasn't paying for it. And same with, I love the oral ID. I don't know if you guys know about that. It's like a flashlight to check for oral abnormalities, oral cancer. And so at the very beginning, insurance companies weren't paying for these things. And doctors were, and still to this day, doctors will go, oh, no, I don't want to do that because insurance doesn't pay for it. Well, guess what? Many years later, my clients all bill out for the oral abnormality screening. And I have seen reimbursement. Here in Oregon, I think it was down in Southern Oregon, I had a client that was getting reimbursed $70 for it. And then here in Portland, Oregon, I had a client that was reimbursed for the oral cancer screening at $50. So you can't necessarily say we don't want to bill for it because it's not being reimbursed. So don't think, oh, we're going to just bill out for a pro fee because they won't pay for this code anyways. I believe, and Ben, you let me know what you think of this, but I think that we all need to be united as a team.
Yes.
Because you have to say together, everybody achieves more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we all get together and start billing what is actually being done, what's going to happen in 10 years from now? Don't you think the gingivitis code is more likely to be paid for? And look, I'm seeing it be reimbursed. Right now, it's being reimbursed, guys, so you've got to bill what you did.
Exactly. Yep. That you're 100% correct, and I agree with you 100%. If we establish what the norm should be from a coding perspective, it will eventually be accepted on the insurance side. When we did the recording with Dr. Mark Casas, Jordan, a couple of months ago, we posted this information. Mind you, we didn't go into as much detail as what Debbie just went through. No. And there were some doctors commenting on that Facebook page saying, "No, I'm not gonna bill it out anymore because they're paying it as a pro fee." It's like, well, then if you're not going to help correct the standard, then we're going to suffer as an industry, simply because if they think it's a pro fee, that's all they're gonna lower the standard for everybody else. So we have to be united in our resolve and our understanding of this new code, bill it exactly as it's described by the ADA, and then price it accordingly. Create a price that's fair, that's higher than a pro fee, which it should be. But we definitely need to do a better job as an industry falling behind these things, and that's our mission, is to help support Debbie and get these very
support
key
Debbie.
Things. Yeah, because you're out there coaching, and if we can help,
send me your dollars.
if we can help spread the word about this, and it will only help the industry improve, especially as it relates to these misused Perio codes that we see on a daily basis.
Yes. I was recently in an office consulting with them, and they kept saying, "Oh, we can't do the fluoride varnish." And I went up to the front desk, and I'm like, "What's going on? They're not paying for it." Well, why aren't they paying for it? Well, when I looked at the code she was billing was still the regular fluoride foam. It wasn't the new fluoride varnish coat. I'm like, danger alert here.
Yeah.
It's been going on for many years now, over a decade. They will pay for the fluoride varnish. And I'm telling you guys, if you're concerned that your patients aren't going to pay for the oral ID or one of these oral cancer screening devices, I think October, by the way, this is probably your podcast will be published in October, which I believe is Oral Cancer Awareness Month. And it's a great opportunity to grow your practice with doing free oral cancer screenings with your technology. I mean, that's the standard of care in this industry, is to assess for oral abnormalities before they're a disease process, before we have to do cutting that disfigures your face because you now have an oral cancer lesion. And patients are paying for it. I have a client, some of our clients, they started out charging $20. The patients pay it. I have another client, and he's one that will complain, they don't want to do the treatment. No, they're paying, they're opening their wallets. He isn't aware of it, but they're opening their wallets, and they're paying $45 for their oral abnormality screening with their oral ID.
Very interesting.
That's another profit center, and then some insurance companies are reimbursing. So, I mean, these are life-saving services that we're providing our patients. Seriously.
Yeah, awesome. No, Debbie, this has been a great episode. I'm sure our listeners have been educated quite a bit, and they've had some fun with us here. So, if any of our listeners want to get in touch with you, what's the best contact information you can give them?
So, is it okay if I give them $1,000 gift?
Yes.
Yeah. It's always good.
Okay.
Can you give me $1,000 gift too?
I can give them something that's valued at $1,000, and they can figure out how we can turn that into. Our clients we're getting our numbers in from our clients who have completed their consulting contracts with us this year, and it's 6 figures that their results are. It's so exciting. I was just talking to Kate in our office because we're going to a dental meeting tomorrow night. I'm like, it's okay if you share with the results with those people there.
Who wouldn't want a 6-figure result? I mean, that's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want one, Jordan? No, okay. That's fine. I'll take your 6-figure result.
Just here, let me show you how. But no, seriously, I want to give them a gift. And what they need to do is, our website, by the way, is Dental Practice Solutions with an S at the end.com. And then email Kate. She can get them set up with this gift. And the gift is, you go to admin@dentalpracticesolutions.com. That's Kate. She'll set you up. I'm going to give you a strategic planning session. We'll talk about your practice, what your goals are, your vision, and I'll share with you, if you'd like to know, doctor, how we can get you to be in the 6-figure range next year. I mean, adding on 6 figures. I mean, the sooner you start, the more, because some of our clients who just finished up their 6-month contract are at, is it okay if I tell you how much? I'm not telling you their names, but
it's okay, yeah.
They're actually at 180,000 more this year, and they started in March with us. So
wow,
we just finished their contract. Anyways, it's exciting for us to see that, and Kate's going to enroll you in not only the strategic planning session, so I can show you how you can do that, but we'll also, after the call, enroll you in a 3-part video training series for your hygiene department. They're 20-minute videos. And then also, I have a webinar I did with Dr. Roy Shelburne. Do you guys know who he is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think we talked about him last time, and then I noticed I actually clicked on your webinar link there, and I think that was the one. And I saw
Yes, we did a webinar on gingivitis.
Very cool.
Yes. So they'll get that webinar, and then I also have a treatment flow chart for treating the gingivitis patient. So they get that,
cool.
And normally it would be at least $1,000, and I mean, even just doing that, if you start following what you learn in those videos in that webinar, it's thousands of dollars to your practice over the next months.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool.
That is a huge gift.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie.
What we'll do for those of you that may be driving, or doing something else more creative, we're going to post all of this in the show notes, and so it's www.dentalpracticesolutions.com, admin@dentalpracticesolutions.com, as well as their phone number. That'll all be in the show notes, and encourage you to reach out. I will tell you that I have actually seen practices increase in the range, revenue increases in the range that Debbie is talking about. And it is, to me, it is one of the easiest opportunities in dental practices to capture, because, I mean, hygiene patients, there's always this, at least, how do you word it? The patients seem to like the hygienists oftentimes a little bit more than the dentists, in most practices. True, yeah. And I think a lot of dentists recognize that, is that, when you build the hygiene department the way it should be, with all the proper coding and diagnosing that's involved, it's amazing the growth that I see in many dental offices that do it the way Debbie teaches. So reach out to Debbie. Thank you so much, Debbie, for the offer. Do you have any closing thoughts for the listeners, Debbie?
I just want to say, bill what you actually do. Don't be afraid to talk to your patients and tell them the truth about what you see, not what you found, but what you see. And I think understanding where your patient's coming from, all these little secret things here, put them together, and you will definitely increase your patient case acceptance and their ability to pay for your services.
Thank you so much. Folks, this is Debbie, and let me see if I can get your name right. Debbie Seidel-Bittke.
Yeah, try it, Ben.
Seidel-Bittke. Did I get that right?
Seidel-Bittke.
Seidel-Bittke.
It's German, good German name, but I'm not German. I'm French-Brazilian.
Wow, French-Brazilian. That's a pretty neat
with
combination.
A German name. Because, France and Germany, they who was enrolled depends on which area was France or Germany.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But anyway, it's been so much fun talking with you guys. I had a lot of laughs, and hopefully our listeners were laughing too.
Yeah.
They will.
Absolutely.
We have a great listener base.
One last announcement, Ben, just to alert... notify all of our listeners about the Voices of Dentistry.
Oh, yeah.
Go to that, the website, voicesofdentistry.com. You guys can register. You get some CE credits if you come to that conference. All of the podcasters will be there. Ben and I will be there. It's January 26th and 27th of 2018. So just keep that in mind and go to voicesofdentistry.com to register there.
We'll post that too in the show notes.
Sweet.
Jordan, Debbie, thank you so much. Have a great day, and thank you so much for the wonderful content, Debbie. We wish you the best of success with the listeners, and a wonderful rest of 2017 and a great 2018.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Thank you.